What up, what up? It's your boy AJ back with Daily Sports Talk today. It's a Friday, last day of the week, great week of basketball. We didn't a couple cancellations, so we didn't get to see a full week of basketball, but there were some good games, and we're gonna jump right into last night. So at the top of the night, we had the rematch 76ers and Miami. 125-108. 76ers took that game. Shea Milton, 31-7-2. He played a great game last night off the bench. He's going to be a good addition for them. The 76ers can go pretty deep. They're going to need to be able to go pretty deep to win the East out this year, especially with this Harden trade. A couple of new moves around the East, so they're going to need all the help they can get, but he was great last night. Miami also was out. Bam was still, Goran, Avery Bradley, and Butler, but they took the 76ers to a deep game the last time out, and the 76ers weren't having it this game. Their defense was attacking early for the 76ers. They were getting steals, turnovers, and pushing the tempo. Maxey is a very good rookie. He's going to be great for this team as well. You can see his offense starting to develop. He was making a couple turnovers, but he's a rookie, so I can expect that. But he was doing a lot of good things on the floor. He got that little floater game. It looks really nice. He had a couple times down the floor. And the role players for the Sixers, they're gonna step up, and they're gonna have to continue to step up to make it far. The Heat just weren't making shots last night. They couldn't find a rhythm early, and because the 76ers were hitting shots and they couldn't find a rhythm, they tried to turn to threes, couldn't make them, and then they just got sloppy with the ball, turnovers. And the Sixers capitalized on those turnovers, so it ended up being a pretty much a blowout. They were just hot all night long. The Sixers were, and Joel wasn't amazing last night, but he didn't need to be. He let his team do most of the work, and that's actually not an indictment on Embiid, but it's really a praise of their team and how deep they are, and they're going to need that. So, not a bad win for the 76ers. The Heat were short man, so they still gave it their all, but they just weren't hitting like they were the first time around. 76ers, like I said, they took that game 125-108. The Rockets and Spurs are the next game up. Now, this was probably one of the more watched games because of the trade. And people wanted to see how the Rockets look now without Harden. Now, they don't have LeVert in the lineup yet. Not LeVert. He's in the Pacers. They don't have Victor in the lineup yet. But I do think that he'll just jump right in and they'll be a good team. Because last night I saw a lot of good stuff. They were playing team ball all night last night for the Rockets. Their defense in the second quarter, it was falling apart a little bit, but I think that was more of just the chemistry. They weren't on a string yet because they hadn't really played together with that group yet. I give a lot of it. For them to come out of the game with a win, it shows a lot about their team, especially with such a they were in the middle of the media from the start of the season till yesterday, so. They played very well. They had a lot of turnovers, which they started to hurt them, and the Spurs capitalized on the turnovers all night. That's the reason why they were staying in the game. Free throws and turnovers for the Spurs. DeRozan wasn't really locked in last night. He wasn't doing much for the Spurs. He started to come alive a little bit in the fourth, but he needs to be more dominant from the start of the game. He's their either first or second best player, so he needs to be more dominant, but the Rockets, they impressed me. I didn't know what they would be like, but it seems like they're going to be running most of their offense, and most of their team is going to be ran through Christian Wood, who's been a very, very good player. He's emerging as the most improved player of the year. Right now, he's probably the top candidate, and he's playing great basketball. They just, he said it after the game, take it step by step, day by day, game by game. And I think him paired up with Victor, they'll be able to do some damage. I don't know if they're going to be a top team in the West again like they usually are, but I think they have a chance to make the playoffs, especially with a cleared mind, cleared court for those guys to operate without Harden on it. So I do like it. I like the move for the Rockets, at least. The Nets is a different story, but we're not going to talk about them right now. But but for the Rockets, I think it was a good move. 109-105, the Rockets took that game. The next game of the night, we'll go Raptors, Hornets. To start the game, the Raptors looked super dominant. They were hitting from three. They were looking down. They're locking down on defense. They were pushing the tempo. They were hitting shots, inside-out game. And they just looked like a different team last night than they have been as of late. They're 3-8, so they were on a losing streak, and they finally snapped that. They're still, for me, I don't know if they can turn it around fast enough, because yes, the Hornets are a good team, but no Hayward again, and they just didn't play. They just didn't play good enough to beat any other team besides the Hornets. Now, last night it was kind of like a football game. The refs were just letting them go. Weren't a lot of foul calls. They were just kind of, going at it, and the Hornets were fighting back. They were trying to come back into the game, but Boucher for the Raptors is a very good young guy, and he took over the game late. He had some big stops, had some big shots, and he ended up with 25, 10, and 2 last night. And the Hornets looked good, but they just didn't have enough last night to win that game. Like I said, they were out Hayward, which is probably their leading scorer, and he's having a career year so far. So if he's back, I don't think the Raptors get that win last night. But they did what they had to do to win with the players that were on the floor. So they were shooting well. They had 99 points through 3 quarters, so that shows you that they can get points on the board. But they're gonna have to have more consistency from their big three, or just throughout the whole team, because they don't really have an established guy, Kyle Lowry. But like I said, he's iffy in the regular season. Fred, I think, is their best player. He's usually getting you those point. His stat line, he usually gets that. But it needs to be him, Lowry, Boucher, and then Siakam. Those guys have to be consistent every game for them to have success. And they do have a couple other guys too. So they have the making of being a decent team, but they just started so slow, and they're just missing something. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll see how it goes. 111-108, they won that game against the Hornets. Let's go Pacers, Portland. Now, I thought this was going to be a really close game, down to the wire. Great defense versus a great offense. And what it turned out to be was the Pacers pretty much told me, yeah, we're a great defense and we're a great offense, because last night they showed it. out the jump, without, no Victor. They, I think Exum was on their team. He's gone now. No, Exum's on the Cavs. I'm sorry, but no Victor. They really didn't show any decline of play. I really think that with their duo of Brogdon and Sabonis, they'll still be elite like they are, and they'll be in the playoffs. Because those two guys are so efficient in how they play and what they do. And the team is just so in tuned. They've been together for a while. Their coach has been there for a while. They play as a unit. They don't care about selfish, they don't care about stats, things like that. They play as one unit. They move on a string on defense. They're long and physical. Miles Turner is a beast. Lead the league in blocking and blocks. He can step out and shoot the three if you leave him. We saw a couple times this season already. He's had some big threes in clutch moments. So the Pacers showed me something last night. Because they were dominant through 4 quarters. They didn't let go of they didn't step off the pedal at all. They kept it going. And Sabonis was big last night, 23, 15, and 5. They were trying to take advantage of the inside. For Portland, they have Nurkic, but they don't really have that big of a presence down there. They have Cancer, but again, he's a defensive guy, but he can be a liability sometimes. So they don't really have a true monster down there that can deal with Sabonis and Miles Turner. The Pacers were just very good last night. I think Michael Brogdon might be one of the most underrated players because nobody really talks about him, but